What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we have got one whole heap of a fun Transformers card to talk about. It's just been revealed by Ken Nagel in Nagel's Notes. He is the lead designer of the Transformers TCG, and it is the first ever alternate win condition that we have ever seen in the Transformers trading card game. Up till now, it has been very simple. Knock out your opponent's Transformers, then you win. Not now, ladies and gentlemen. Say hello to Daring Escape. Frankly, one of my favourite cards we've ever seen, and for pretty gosh darn good reason. It's got a blue and a green icon, more on that in a moment, that's going to be relevant. For each Autobot you have on the battlefield, put the top card of your deck into your KO area face up. If your deck and scrap pile are empty, you win the game. How cool is that? Now, one of the mechanics of the Transformers trading card game is that there is no deck out. Once you run out of cards in your deck, you shuffle your discard pile, and your discard pile becomes your deck, your scrap pile, in the parlance of the Transformers trading card game. Well, here, your goal is to run out of deck, run out of discard pile, and then all of a sudden, you're in a very good position, because you literally win the game. You can have dealt no damage, while your opponent has one of your characters with 1 health left to take, and then they win the game. This quite literally changes everything. Now, you can ignore it if you want, and ignoring it is fine. But you can also play around it. But the one thing that must be noted here, you do not have to get all of your cards in the KO area. You just need to get them away from your deck and discard pile. So essentially, there are 3 places your cards can go to get them out of your deck and your scrap pile. Number 1, they can go to the KO area. Number 2, they can go into your hand. Number 3, they can go onto your Transformers. So one thing you can do here is just play a whole bunch of upgrades, and then when you've played a whole bunch of upgrades, start playing Equipment Enthusiast, which will draw 1 card for each of your upgrades, and then all of your cards are in your hand or on your Transformers, and you win quite nicely. Now, there are some cards that will go to your KO area when they are played, but they're not exactly the most convenient cards. Now, over the last couple of days, we've seen a couple of new secret actions. One that I have been lucky enough to reveal was Even the Score. Double orange icon, secret action, and it has a star card. And on the same day, the lovely folks over at Wreck and Rule revealed Heroic Resolve, a double blue icon star card. Now, incidentally here, Heroic Resolve is much better for this particular strategy. Even the Score, basically, if you get overkilled, if your opponent does too much damage, you redirect it onto the attacker, whereas Heroic Resolve keeps you alive with 1 health remaining. And of course, if you're going for this alternate win condition, one of the things you're really going to need is just time. You are going to need to stay on the field, so Heroic Resolve is actually brilliant for that. And then when it's played, it goes into your KO area, or when it's revealed. Now, there is one other card that goes to your KO area, but it's not ideal here either. It is Recover Cassette, and it's not a star card, and if you have Blaster or Soundwave on the battlefield, you may put one of your mini cassettes from the battlefield under it. If you do, repair 2 damage from one of your characters, then put this card into your KO area. Yeah, you've basically got to play it in a Blaster or Soundwave deck. Now, there's nothing to stop you playing a Blaster or Soundwave deck with Daring Escape, but yeah. So really, in terms of getting cards in the KO area, I do like Heroic Resolve, but other than that, you've got Daring Escape. Now, Daring Escape, for each Autobot you would have on the battlefield, you put the top card of your deck into your KO area face up. So one option you've got here very nicely is play aerial bots. Because you see, if you're playing aerial bots, you're playing a 5-wide deck. Which means that when you play this, you're putting 5 cards. That's 1 in 8 of your cards go straight into your KO area face up. And not for nothing, but I've been teaching a bit of maths lately. That's 12.5% of your deck. Now, it's unlikely, but maybe you can pull off some weird brainstorm double heroic resolve combo, and that's going to put a quarter of your deck in the KO area straight away. That's going to help. Now, of course, we've also been looking at little tanks lately, and we've now actually got a bunch of little Autobot tanks, and we can play quite a wide little Autobot tank deck. So if you want to go wide, you absolutely can go wide here. And this will help, but I don't know if that's the best way to play. And as with all of this, right, it has got to be tested and refined to figure out the best way to do so. But if you're going for cards in the KO area, something like aerial bots or wide tanks is probably going to be the best way to do so. Now, speaking of wide tanks, one great option you've actually got here is to play a bunch of these little Autobot tanks. I did a video about Captain Impactor the other day where I went into these wide tank decks in a bit more detail. I'll pop a link to that one in the description. But you got stuff like Sidetrack, who's a 4 cost, and Impactor is a 7 cost, but you buff it out with a bunch of others, and you end up with a 5-wide deck here, so you're fine. And then you add in Hunker Down. And Hunker Down flips all of your characters that can be tanks into tank mode and attaches an armor from your scrap pile. So you could potentially be getting 5 armor out of your scrap pile and attaching it to your characters, which takes 5 cards from the scrap pile onto your characters, getting you closer to winning the game. Now, when your characters are KO'd, they go back to the scrap pile. But I like the idea of a wide tank deck here, so that you can play Hunker Down to clear out your scrap pile a bit, while potentially getting 5 cards in the KO area with Daring Escape. That is my initial reaction to this. As I've said, it is going to take a lot of testing. And we've all got those cards we really want to be good, but have never found a way to make them good enough. Autobot Cosmos has always been one for me. And Autobot Cosmos is really good at drawing cards. When you flip to alt mode, you scrap all cards from your hand, then you draw that many cards. It is going to help you run through your deck a little bit faster so that you draw into what you want. And oh yeah, it's got 21 health. That's good. Then, of course, maybe you play it with something like Extra Padding. Now, Extra Padding only gives you Tough 1, which sounds underwhelming. But when you play it, you can immediately play another one, which means you get more cards on there straight away. And you're going to get a little bit of extra buffering. And of course, it's got a green icon, so you can get it from the scrap pile after flipping for attacking or defending. And while we're playing Extra Padding, maybe we also run around with something like Attack Drone. Same deal, when you play it, you may play another one. And you can fit 3 in a weapon slot. And the whole point of this here is Cosmos is really hard to KO. So you get your hopefully free extra padding on to give it tough 3 with the 21 health. And then that's 3 cards that cannot be in your scrap pile or your deck. And then maybe Attack Drone goes on as well. Not particularly because you want the extra attack, but just because they've got to be somewhere. And then maybe once you've got free Attack Drone and free extra padding onto Cosmos, you play Equipment Enthusiast to draw 6 cards. And this is the kind of thought process you need to go through here in order to make Daring Escape work. When you're playing a card like Daring Escape, and those of you that have played other card games will know, you've got to adjust your way of thinking. It's not about how can I do damage, it is how can I get cards in the KO area, how can I draw cards, how can I attach extra cards, and how can I keep my bots alive? Because that's the goal with Daring Escape. Keep your bots alive, attach as many upgrades as you can get away with, and draw as many cards as you can. But it needs to be something like Equipment Enthusiast. It couldn't be System Reboot, because System Reboot, you discard your hand, you scrap your hand and draw 4. Well, that's not good enough here, because you need to keep the cards in your hand. Now, while we're talking Cosmos, he is a specialist, which means you can play the multi-cards. Now, multi-mission gear is fine, you get to play extra actions, that can help, but multi-tool, when you play it, you may play an upgrade. Although as a side note, you would have to choose between that and attack drone. Or maybe you want to go for a utility and you go for Field Communicator. When you play it, you can play an extra card. Hopefully an upgrade. Nothing against actions here, but the biggest issue with actions is when you play them, they're in your scrap pile. So maybe something like new designs to play an extra upgrade. You've got to get the actions out of your scrap pile, but then again, maybe you can draw the actions and stash them in your hand. Or maybe you can use Daring Escape to get your actions into the KO area. But that's something that needs to be thought about here. Now, if you do want to be running with Cosmos, maybe Captain Elita 1? The great thing about Captain Elita 1 is, I mean, in this regard, basically everything. When you flip into alt mode, you may move any number of damage counters from one of your other characters to this without KOing her. And she's got 17 health, and she can heal up Cosmos, so that's pretty good. But then in bot mode, when you're KO'd, you scrap, but can play the top 2 cards of your deck. It's a leap of faith. And incidentally, if you played the 2 of these together, you would have a couple of stars to play with for something like Leap of Faith or indeed Heroic Resolve. And maybe if you're playing extra cards, you can play extra upgrades. And don't get me wrong, actions are important, but I'm leaning upgrades here because upgrades can be stashed on your characters and basically left there. But then again, if you're stashing them on your characters and leaving them there, you really need to pick a character and keep it alive. Though that will be like a red rag to a bull to your opponent who's going to go, right, I'll go after them. But that's when you can maybe use something like a force field, if you're not going with the extra padding. Or maybe you use a character that we looked at just a couple of days ago, Private Vanguard. Because one of the awesome things about Private Vanguard is that while it's out, and while it's in bot mode, the only mode it's got while it's out, of course, it basically guarantees that your character can only take 5 damage as long as you flip at least 1 white icon. Well, if your Cosmos is taking 5 damage a turn, that's going to take a little while to take Cosmos down. Now, I'm not saying Cosmos is the best way to play this. This seems like the kind of deck where you need to sit there and goldfish over and over again until you find a deck that can do this fast enough. And one of the cool things about this is a goldfishable deck. By which I mean you can sit there just playing out the first couple of turns to see how many turns it takes you to win like this. It's something that's much more difficult to do when you're going for an offensive or a defensive strategy, because it matters much more what your opponent does. You can make a Daring Escape deck that wins in, say, 3 turns, and then it's just, can you stay alive for 3 turns? Maybe this will never end up being good. Maybe this will never actually work, but oh my goodness, I could not wait 1 more second to bring you a video discussing this. I love it. My first thought on the matter is either 5 wide Autobot tanks with Hunker Down, or playing Cosmos with the kind of upgrades where you can attach multiples. But the reality is, we are all going to have to sit down and make a whole bunch of deck lists and check them out, because this looks absolutely amazing. As a side note, in a sealed tournament, if you can just get like 3 Autobots and Daring Escape, which is a rare incidentally, yeah, that is going to give you a very nice win condition indeed. Just a thought. But I really want to know what you think about this card, so let me know in the comment section. Let's have a chat, let's go nuts, let's be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we can talk Transformers and anything else that takes our fancy. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy plays.